The dream home I built with my own money. It's filled with dreams. Never did I imagine it would be taken over by my in-laws. I won't let that happen. I'll stop them at any cost, betting my life on it. My name is Amanda, and I got married at 33. I wasn't particularly keen on marriage, but as people around me started tying the knot, and I happened to be dating someone at the time, I thought it would be better to have someone than be alone when I die. That's how lightly I took marriage. In hindsight, that was a naive thought. My husband's name is John. I met John at a mixer I was invited to when I was 30. Me, working hard in an international corporation, and John, an employee at a supermarket. Naturally, there was a huge gap in our salaries, and to top it off, John was busy but not well paid. But I had a decent income, and since we had no children, everyday life wasn't too hard. We understood each other's jobs and lived fulfilling days, except for one thing. The major stress in my life was the harassment from Mill and Sil living in the nearby in-laws' house. Being close, I was often summoned to the in-laws since the early days of our marriage. I could have refused, but being a newlywed and a DIL, it was hard to say no. As soon as John and I arrived at the in-laws, my Mill would start boss me around. You're finally here. Can you make some coffee first, and then clean the upstairs afterward? While I was making coffee, my Sil treated me like a maid. I'll have tea. And can you get some sweets from the pastry shop? Why should I do all this? Do it yourself. At least agree on the drinks. I almost blurted out, but ended up going to the shop anyway. They're John's family, after all. I didn't want to cause a stir. Besides, it was just once or twice a month. As long as I did what they said then, there was no harm. So, I just followed their orders. But I reached my limit eventually. One day, summoned by my Mill, I went to the in-laws' house. My Mill, looking serious, started talking to me. Amanda, I've got something to discuss with you. A warning bell went off in my head. This can't be good, I had a bad feeling. Still, I responded with a facade, what's wrong? Sure enough, my bad feeling was right. Well, we're a bit low on cash this month. You can lend us $1,000, right? My Mill leaned in, starting such a conversation. And she spoke as if lending her money was an obvious thing to do. $1,000? No way. I flatly refused. Well, I really can't lend you $1,000. Didn't I lend you $500 just last month? I had already lent $500 to my Mill last month. She must have gotten a taste for it. That $500 was for my husband's hospital bills, wasn't it? She excused herself indignantly. This month's for living expenses. We're really struggling. Please help us out. She begged me with a sweet voice. Even that $500 from last month, she said it was for my FIL's hospital bills, but she never told me the diagnosis. It was just an excuse, probably just wanting some spending money for her and my Sil. I had a hunch, so I definitely couldn't give her any more money. Besides, we're not that well off ourselves. John's salary isn't reliable, so we're practically living on my income. I mean, we have our own lives to live too. I hinted at our own financial struggles, hoping she'd give up. But that was wishful thinking. My Mill isn't the type to back down so easily. You're being supported by my son. Don't talk to me like that. Can't you even think of helping your Mill a little? I was truly annoyed by that statement. Supported by her son. What's she talking about? If anything, I'm the one supporting her son. Regardless, my Mill rushed over to John, who was relaxing in the room. John, listen. Amanda is being terrible. She won't help even though I said we're struggling with money. She covered her face with her hands theatrically, making me out to be the villain. Please, John, say something to her. Well, in such times, she is supposed to ask her own son first, not her DIL. Anyway, it's absurd to ask me for money, whether I'm her DIL or not, John, nonchalantly, said. You know, since Mom's in trouble, you could help her out a bit. Hey, didn't you just get excited about getting your bonus? At the word bonus, my Mill's eyes lit up and she turned back to me. Amanda, you got your bonus, and you refused to help me. Suddenly, I was the one being blamed. Yes, I did get a bonus, but I've saved it all for our dream home fund. I had a dream to build a house one day, filled with all my preferences. It's been my dream since I was a child. I haven't lived extravagantly, and I've saved every bonus for that. Just because I got a bonus doesn't mean I have to give in to my Mill's demands. She kept wailing, but I repeatedly refused and finally left the in-laws' house. In the car on the way home, I couldn't hold back any longer and vented my frustrations to John. Why do I have to put up with that? If your mom is struggling with money, why don't you help her? John sighed irritably. You earn more than me. You even have a bonus, why can't you help a little? He made it sound like I was the villain. But your mom told me, being supported by my son, she believes you earn more than me. Isn't it strange she's asking me for money? I don't care. Stop complaining and just do as mom says. His irresponsible words infuriated me. Holding back my urge to yell, I told him, anyway, I'm not helping anymore. Last month she lied about it being hospital bills. If you're worried, you handle it from now on. He clicked his tongue and fell silent. When it comes to money, my low-earning John has no comeback. He didn't say anything more. After that, my Mill contacted me frequently. This month is really tough, send me $500. My dad might be hospitalized, I need $1,000 from you. Such were the seemingly plausible reasons my Mill used to ask for money. Of course, I didn't pay a cent. Each time, John called me stingy and narrow-minded, but I ignored it all. I didn't want to waste savings anymore by following my Mill's demands. Most importantly, our dream home fund was almost at the target amount. A few months later, I finally decided to build my long-awaited dream home. Since it was my idea, the house would be in my name, and I would be the one paying for it. All the hard times I faced before working at my current company, it all paid off. I felt very content at that moment. John had already told me, I'm not paying for it, but with his low income, he couldn't even help if he wanted to. Moreover, the business performance of the supermarket he works for had been declining for months, and his salary had decreased. Because of his low income, he even refused to contribute to household expenses. Meanwhile, the contract with the construction company was completed, and my dream home was nearing its final form. What furniture to place, how to arrange it. Amidst all the excitement, even the usually dreary work felt easy. Being summoned to the in-laws was common, but I often declined, saying, I have a meeting with the construction company, and only John would go. Then, my dream home was completed. I did it. I finally got my dream home packed with everything I wanted. The moving day was scheduled for this weekend. Suddenly, John said, let's order some fancy food this weekend, okay? Why's that? Aren't we moving this weekend? I asked, perplexed. John laughed dismissively. My family is coming to the new house. We have to entertain them. Huh? Your family? I hadn't heard anything that his family was coming. And we'd be busy moving, there's no time to entertain. As I was confused, John started saying something unbelievable. It's not just for us, it's a housewarming for my family too. We're all going to live together, so we have to celebrate properly on the first day. Huh? Live together. The new house will be given to my mom. We'll just be living with them. What? What is he talking about? Live together? With those in-laws? In the house I built with my money? No way. At that moment, something snapped inside me. I raised my voice to John. Don't joke around. Did you decide that on their own? This is supposed to be our house, right? And it's built entirely with my money. I'll never allow living together. John retorted in opposition. Huh? I'm the eldest son, right? It's natural for the family to live together in the house the eldest son built. Don't be ridiculous. You didn't contribute a dime. It's in my name, don't act like it's yours. I yelled at him. John stood abruptly. That's enough. Cool your head. Just remember, you married into my family. Think before you speak. He left the house after dropping those words. Cool my head. That's my line. I couldn't help but yell towards the door. I didn't care that John left or that we fought. I couldn't let those people take over the house I worked so hard for. The next day, when John came back home, he started off with a smug, "Did you reflect on your behavior?" What am I supposed to reflect on? Oh, you think it's okay to say that? His tone suggested he was holding something back. Then, he suddenly took out a piece of paper and waved it in front of me. "You know what this is, right? This divorce petition already has my signature. If you refuse to live together, I'll make you sign it and we'll get divorced right away, okay?" He looked down at me triumphantly, thinking this was some kind of threat. "Got it. Think carefully about your position, okay?" He thrust the divorce petition at me and left the house again. Isn't this actually a really fortunate situation for me? I quickly signed the divorce petition he left and submitted it on moving day. After moving all my belongings, I started unpacking. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. "Hey, it's me. Open up," my husband was shouting at the door. Through the monitor, I saw my Sil, and even my Phil, all standing there. "Who are you?" I responded in a monotone voice, which seemed to infuriate John. "It's me. Open the door. The movers truck is arriving soon." "Movers? I've already moved all my stuff. Perhaps you've got the wrong person. Are you kidding me?" He then started banging on the door and windows. "Hey, if you don't open the door, I'll break this window." Not wanting to cause a neighborhood disturbance, I immediately called the police. "Hello. My ex-husband and his family are causing a scene outside my house. Please come quickly." The police responded promptly, and in just 5 minutes, the police arrived. Since John had damaged my new home's window, they were all arrested on the spot. As they were being taken away, John shouted, "I'm the head of this house. We just had a little argument." I threw reality back at him. "This house is in my name, and you are my ex-husband, you know." "Ex-husband? What do you mean? We're not divorced, right? What are you talking about?" I laughed. "You brought that signed divorce petition yourself." So I submitted it to the courthouse right after that. He seemed shocked, probably not expecting me to actually submit it. He was crestfallen. In the end, John and his family were taken away for disorderly conduct and property damage. I made sure to bill them for the broken window. Interestingly, they seem to have assumed they could just move into my new home, having already terminated their lease on their previous apartment. They were released shortly after being questioned by the police, but now they had nowhere to go. They were left out with the belongings they planned to move into my house. John begged me, "Please, we have nowhere to live. I won't say anything bossy anymore. Let us stay here," but I didn't care about him anymore. I politely declined. My ex-Mil and ex-Sil hurled various insults at me, calling me heartless for leaving family in trouble, but to me, they were no longer my family. I blocked all contacts from John and ex-in-laws, severing all ties. They are now apparently living cramped in an apartment they've just rented, struggling to make ends meet. They were a family that used to live off my ex-FIL's early retirement money, my ex-SIL's part-time income, and the money they extorted from me. Adding John's meager salary wouldn't change their dire situation. They deserve it, though. Meanwhile, I invited my parents to live with me in my spacious dream home, and we decided to live there together as a family of 3. This house is wonderful. Are you sure it's okay to have both of us living here? It's perfectly fine. It's a bit too big for just one person anyway. This was the least I could do for my parents, who have been inconvenienced by the divorce drama. Since the divorce happened right after building the new house, some people were surprised, wondering, "You got divorced right after building a new house." But now, I'm happiest spending time in this house with my parents. Had I continued to live with my ex-husband's family, I would have been treated like a maid every day and led the worst life. Compared to that, divorce was the easy way out. I'm glad I didn't sacrifice my life for such people. From now on, I want to cherish every day for myself and my parents.